on stage like 16 or 17, the performance manager, he came and said, I think I need you to do Dauphiné. And I wasn't meant to race. I was like, kind of had a bit of a holiday book with the family, didn't really want to go. And I was like, okay, whatever, I'll go.
I'll knock another fifth out if I need to.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure. You ever do the Giro Dauphiné or the Giro Swiss?
I did. No, I never did them combo. No.
I wouldn't recommend it.
I always see people because it's like it comes around super quick.
Mate, I think I had 5 days after the end of the Giro until leaving for Dauphiné. Like, it was a bit ridiculous. And the first 2 days in Dauphiné, I was like, I don't want to be here, eh?
Well, your head's not on, let alone your body.
No, like, I really didn't feel good. And then I just started to feel a little bit better and a little bit better as Dauphiné went on. And then a couple of people on the team started joking, like, you could go to the Tour, eh? And I was like, nah, I won't go to the Tour.
Yeah,
like,
I don't want to go to the Tour.
Like, who's done Giro Dauphiné Tour? Like, that's a ridiculous race program. Like, I'd never do that. And then, like...
With practically 10 days off, I guess, between total? 5 before, 5 after, is it? Or
no, so you got, like, 2 weeks after Dauphiné.
2 weeks, right.
Yeah, plenty of time.
Yeah, heaps.
Well, that, of course, was the episode that I did last week with Jack Haig. If you haven't heard that episode, get across and have a listen to that one. That was a really cool episode talking all about his way through the Peloton and his struggles and his things that he's overcome to get where he is right now today. This is Talking Luft, a Life in the Peloton podcast presented by our partners, MAAP. And right now, MAAP have been kicking off their global series of environmentally conscious rides because we all like to think outside is free. Well, it isn't. The Help Wanted program is about starting a ride, any ride that aims to bring awareness to the local environmental issue you're passionate about. Because if we want to continue to benefit from Mother Nature's wonder, we must invest in its future. Go across to maap.cc to read more about the Help Wanted program and how you can be involved. This is a classic Talking Luft with Jack. I've got Hagee, I've got him back. We're back to our roots, talking style, coffee, beer, culture, and everything else that we ask our guests here at Talking Luft. Guys, I'm not going to go on too long today. Make sure you get out and check out the new Life in the Peloton book just released. That is exclusively available at maap.cc. That is a book that I have been writing with my good friend Tom Southam for about the last 4 years, and we've launched it. It has gone out into the wild. This is your handbook to life in the Peloton. Everything you want to know about the pro Peloton. Well, maybe not everything, but everything that I learned over my years, and I've put it into one spot to help you, or if you're a young pro or a young kid inspiring to be a pro, what life is like in the pro world. Well, I've put some stories from my experiences in there, but I've also put some stories and I've spoken to other people who've done stuff that I was never able to do. Win the Tour of Flanders, we spoke to Alberto Bettiol, or riding in the front in a Grand Tour, we spoke to Mike Woods as well. Everything wrapped up in there, understanding what life is like in the Peloton. It's a great book. I would love you guys to have one in your hands while you're watching the Tour de France, or whenever you're sitting down watching a race, or just got a bit of free time to enjoy. So check that out. That is the new Life in the Peloton book. And guys, sit back and enjoy. Here we go. A bit of Talking Luft with Jack Haig.
Hagee, it's time for a bit of fun. Talking Luft.
All right, let's go, mate.
Let's see what your style's like. Could be interesting. You reckon you're a bit of a style guru?
Probably not. I think my wife always complains that I never look at myself in the mirror before I leave, and she's like, "Mate, look at your hair. Like, what are you wearing?" I'm like, "I don't know."
You've got a coffee moustache.
Yeah.
Let's start with that then. Your head. I'm talking about caps, casquettes, capolinos. How do you wear yours? What's your style when you don't have your helmet on, when you're walking to the podium, when you're cruising around the streets, whatever, whenever you're wearing a capolino?
Forward, cap down, lightly on the head.
Lightly, nice.
Yeah.
What about when you were mountain biking? Did you ever get into the caps then?
I don't reckon we were pro enough to even have caps, mate.
Do you remember your first cap experience?
I reckon it was probably with UniSA. Yeah, I reckon we got a UniSA cap, and that was pretty cool.
Were you sort of in on it? Were you like, oh, these are a bit stupid, these little hats? Were you like, oh, this is cool?
I maybe didn't fully understand the concept of the cap just because I didn't grow up with like cycling and the history of cycling.
They are quite weird. If you don't
Yeah.
know it, you're like, what's the use for this?
Yeah, like I kind of thought it was cool that you could wear it onto the podium, stuff like this, but I always remembered seeing people with them under the helmets just being like, I don't really get it.
It's 40 degrees and
Yeah.
someone's wearing another thing.
Yeah, I'm like, geez, it must be so hot.
It is a bit weird sometimes.
Yeah.
But, all right, what about if you could race back in the day, no helmet, back in the 90s when those guys raced, what would your style have been? Would you have, worn a headband, a cap?
Would have been cut cap.
Cut cap?
Yeah.
Taffy style?
Yeah, because I hate a hot head. So, but I like the idea of a cap. So, visor, forward, down, but then the top cut off for ventilation.
What about when you got on the big climbs and stuff? Would you have just gone all the way to the finish with the cap on? Would you have just, frisbeed it off?
No, that's why you cut the cap, so you can wear it all the way to the line. But you don't overheat.
But you still would have got that, when it drips, you would have got that one bit of drip from the middle of the brim from the sweat.
I haven't really experienced this because I was maybe too young into cycling.
Yeah, but if you wear one when you're warming up on the trainer.
True. Yeah, true. You get the drip onto the face. Yeah, maybe I would have got rid of it.
Because you can't do the flip up with a visor. I think it looks a bit weird.
Yeah, because I often do climbs without my sunnies on because I hate having a hot face. So I probably would have got rid of the cap on the final climb.
Right. Cut cap on the flats, frisbeed off.
Yeah.
We got to the bottom of that. I like it. All-time favourite kit and team. So it could be, the kit that you loved. Also, you got to think about the team. It could be something recent. Maybe you're not into the full old history of the road teams. Maybe you've gone back and had a look.
It probably would be the initial Team Sky kit, just because that was the era that I was getting into cycling more, and that was when Bradley Wiggins was racing, and I kind of started looking at professional cycling, and he was a similar build to me, and I saw that and I was like, man, he's got style. Like, I thought he was a pretty stylish guy on the bike. The black kit with the blue stripe and everything that went around with Team Sky at that moment, I thought was pretty cool.
And also the team, the actual roster of the riders.
Yeah, exactly. Like the riders on the team, some of them were relatable because like Richie was there. Like I said, Bradley Wiggins was there, and I saw it as a pretty cool team.
That's a good one. No one's ever said that actually, but you sold it on me. It's a good one, mate. Let's talk a little bit of culture. Favorite rider of all time?
I guess it would probably be maybe Wiggins, just for the similar thing to what I said before, that I saw him as being a similar characteristics to me when I was coming up, and I thought he was quite stylish on the bike, just quite smooth, and also he had a bit of a personality off the bike as well, which was a bit more interesting than maybe most of the peloton.
What about the favorite rider right now?
Maybe Tadej. I reckon Tadej, because coming back to it again, I think majority of the peloton's probably not that interesting to the outside, and I think Tadej has a really nice personality. He's obviously incredibly talented and quite a versatile rider that brings maybe more people into the sport because of the way that he races and the way that he acts on and off the bike.
He's not a robot.
No, exactly. And this is what I think it makes him my favorite rider at the moment.
Good one. Yeah, really good one. Best moment in a race. So that moment when you're just like, I just love this bit. Like it's just, for me, it was like the breakaway's gone. I can actually have a piece of food. Oh, yeah, it's only 1K in the race and the break's on. The best moment for me. Could be literally seeing the 1K to go. It could be the neutral zone. I don't know. You could have something really weird. What's your favorite part of a race?
Exactly what you said.
Right.
When the break's gone, and like, especially if it's been like a really hard day before and you sense the peloton's really tired, but you're like, man, I really hope they don't race today. And then two guys just roll off the front. It's like a light headwind, and you just chill in the bunch and you go find some friends and you just go talk some shit with them.
What about vice versa then? Worst moment in a race, that moment where you're just, I hate this bit.
The start of a stage in UAE Tour when the flags are really fluttering in the wind and it's already echelon behind the neutral car.
I don't mind that. So,
no, when it's echelons in the neutral, nah.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, for me, it's got to be like rolling neutral zone and you can just see the flag dropping just as the road kicks up. You're like, no, 10K uphill, here we go.
Yeah,
you're loving that.
Yeah, that's not bad for me. Then I'm like, oh, it's all right.
I thought that would have been your favourite bit.
No,
uphill start.
The uphill start's right. I always joke and I say, oh, all I need to do is just a little bit over threshold and I'll make the break. And then for you guys in the bunch, like you probably hate that.
Oh, yeah. I absolutely hate that. All right. One bike to ride forever. RMG, road bike, mountain bike, or gravel bike. What would it be?
This is a tough one because I love mountain biking, But as I've done more and more road cycling, I've really enjoyed the experience you can have on a road bike to cover distance. So I'd probably go the combination of the both. A gravel bike that has the ability to fit quite wide tires. So like a more off-road focused gravel bike.
So how wide tires? Because you can get gravel bikes now that can fit mountain bike tires.
That's kind of what I'm talking about, like 40C plus tires.
But like, would it still be much faster than a mountain bike? Why wouldn't you just go a mounto then with actual
Because
suspension?
you can swap the wheels.
Ah, right.
Yeah,
right.
so I'm
I see what
thinking
you're
you
saying,
keep the gravel frame.
Yeah.
And then you can whack the mountain bike wheels in it to do light off-road stuff, but you can whack the roadie wheels in it, and if you can go touring and see a lot of things because you can cover ground.
Wouldn't you miss though, like being on like big
Yes.
mountain bike tires and then realizing I would love just like a little dually now, just be able to do some stuff?
There's nothing beats a trail or like enduro style mountain bike and just like ripping a flow trail on this. That's so much fun, but I think I'd miss the ability to cover ground and see new things. So I love experiencing a new country or a new place on the bike. So I think you go fast enough that you can see a lot of different things, but you go slow enough that you can appreciate things when you pass it.
Good answer. Very good. Favorite race of all time? Maybe a race you haven't done. There's only a couple left, but what's your favorite race?
I'd like to try and go Criterium Dauphiné, finish 5 years fifth. So I've done 3 years in a row fifth. I need 2 more fifth.
So that's
Or
your
better.
favorite, that's your favorite race.
Yeah.
Love it. Or better. I like
Yeah.
that. Good adding. Cobbles or gravel?
Gravel.
All right, let's do about you. Crosswinds or mountains?
Oh, mountains. Come on, mate.
Training or racing?
Maybe training.
Yeah, right. Has that shifted?
No, I've always enjoyed training, to be honest. And I enjoy the process of self-improvement and self-learning of doing different things in training. And then I also I don't mind like an altitude training camp where you're a small group of guys and you really sort of bond together in that environment. And it's quite maybe meditational. That's not a word, but you kind of know what I mean. Like quite calm. You're focusing just on one thing. You got a small group of guys really building towards a specific goal. So I quite like training.
It's quite therapeutic.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking about. Yeah.
Yeah, you're sort of up there. You're doing your thing. Everyone's suffering, and you're moving steps forward, aren't you?
Yeah, and you're sort of there with this sole purpose of getting better to prepare for this big goal.
Yeah, it's nice. What's one thing weird that you take to a race? Like everyone's got all these things they take in their suitcase. You know, we saw this whole coffee thing started from when I started. You know, and then everyone had their own coffee grinders, and you know. In the end, I was taking a little photo of my family. What's one thing you put in your suitcase that you don't think a lot of riders have? Or maybe they do. Maybe it's just something weird.
I might give 2. So one, I always take these red light or blue light blocking glasses. So like the red glasses.
Yeah, they're super weird though.
Yeah.
You know, the kooky looking ones.
I love rolling them in the hotel lobby. Everyone's looking at you like a complete weirdo. But I think that this actually helps with sleep. Or I find that it helps because we're on our phones all the time and sleep's so important. So I normally whack them on at night time. And then the little peanut ball thing for cracking your back.
Oh.
Like it's kind of like the 2 tennis balls taped together.
Yeah.
And you just like do it on your spine. It's like a mini version of a foam roller. And I really get like a nice feeling to do like my upper thoracic after being on like the bike crunched over all day. And that's always in my suitcase. That and the blue light blocking glasses.
What does the Cairo think of that?
I don't think he knows. I just do it myself and hide it from him.
I always wonder that. Like they always say, oh, you shouldn't crack your knuckles, you know, and do this. And then you see Kairos, they're just like, yeah, let's crack away,
Yeah.
you know? Are you a coffee shop guy or not? Like when you go out training, do you like to pull up and have a brew?
I love a good brew stop.
What about when you're in the season training and stuff like that? Do you always still do a brew stop?
Depends if I'm alone or not. If I'm alone and I'm suffering, I'll stop for a brew stop. And then I guess also now being a father, I maybe minimize the amount of time that you just end up wasting at the brew stop. Because like before you're a parent, you just spend all day outside riding your bike and you stop at a coffee shop for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And if you're home at 4, you're home at 6, it doesn't really matter. But now I always try and be home before 5 because that's when my son finishes school. So if I've got time, I'd like to stop, but I do have the consideration of the family now.
What do you get when you stop? You know, over in Spain or in Andorra or around that area of France, even when you pop over the hill there, what's your typical sort of pull-up stop? You like to get yourself a bocadillo? What are you getting on it? What's your little run us through?
Depends on where I am and depends on the If it's like a more Australian style cafe, I normally go for something sweet, like a muffin, or I've been getting to scones. Don't really get them in, especially in Spain, we don't get scones.
Jam and cream?
Yeah, jam and cream.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I normally go the Americano in Europe or the long black in Australia. But then if it's just like a random Spanish little village, then it might be a bocadillo con tortilla francesa.
Lovely.
Yeah,
Just
so
a
it's
standard
Spanish
omelette.
omelette.
Yeah, lovely. I like it. Favorite training loop of all time? That one loop that you do and I just love this loop. Explain where it is, where it starts, run us through the loop because someone out there is going to know it.
I guess this is one that I do quite often and I enjoy. It's in Andorra. It's starting in where I live in La Massana, going over Coldordino, up to Port d'Invalera, across the French border, down to Pachera, stopping at the Nord-Est Cafe, getting a nice coffee there and normally some kind of cake.
Nice.
And then you're riding down the valley, hopefully with a tailwind, slight false flat downhill into Liceo. Turn right, head up back into Andorra. Again, you still maybe catch that slight tailwind up the valley. You get home, you've done about 5 hours, but it's been mentally quite easy because you do all the vertical meters in the beginning. You've had a nice coffee stop. It's a round loop. So it kind of ticks all the boxes for me.
Three Nations.
Three Nations, exactly,
the old
mate.
school Three Nations. I do remember that loop. Very nice. I like that loop. I used to do it the other way around.
Yeah, the other way around is real good for burning KJs because it's basically all uphill the whole way and you're always pressing on the pedals. I go for the soft option.
It was good to do like tempos because you'd roll down the whole way from because I used to live in Soldeo, so you'd roll all the way down to the bottom and then it's like, right, it's uphill all the way home now.
You basically got like 3.5 hours out, I reckon, slide uphill all the way.
It's great for those long tempos.
I'm more about the easy ride and the coffee stop.
Best bike of all time. That one bike that you think about doesn't have to be the fastest, most crazy technical bike. It could be. What's your favorite bike of all time that you've had?
I reckon it was I guess it was the first disc brake Scott foil that we got.
Oh, right. Yeah, nice.
On Greenwich.
I never rode that.
I remember that was maybe like the innovation point as well, where we started getting disc brakes, bikes started having more technology in them, and that was the first time I was like, oh, wow, it's actually a sweet bike. So, yeah, maybe that.
Yeah, cool. I like it. BWS. Beer, wine or spirits? What's your drink of poison?
Used to enjoy wine, but since having a kid, I can't really polish off a bottle of wine and feel great the next morning when the kid wakes up at 7. So I'm more about I really appreciate now just a beer.
What beer?
I'm more of I like the experience of tasting different beers. So I work my way through the selection of beers in the supermarket.
Nice.
So I'll just chip away at the different selection.
See, once you get through the supermarket, you're like, right, in the new supermarket this month, this year,
So there's actually a craft beer brewing place in San Sebastian. And I sometimes, being in Andorra, very difficult to get things sent there. So I normally order the beers through Liceo and then ask the wife very nicely if she's going down there to pick them up for me.
I love that. I love it. All right, mate, war story. One of those days where you're just like, oh, this bloody day, everything went wrong. I was out the back, I barely made it. Could have been the Giro. Giro loves producing war stories. What's that one day? Tell us about it.
I forget, it was my first or second year pro Tour of Poland.
Oh, right. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Notoriously long stages in Tour of Poland.
Yeah, very long.
Notoriously starting quite late as well.
Yeah, it was super late. Like 3 or 4 o'clock in the arvo.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I think Tim Wellens won this stage.
Yeah, right.
So it was pretty filthy weather, raining.
Which isn't actually normal since they
No.
moved it to the end of August or whenever it is. Yeah.
There was a massive group of us out the back and we all missed time cut. A lot of guys pulled out because we needed to do this lap at the finish line as well. So we already passed the bus and you need to go around and do the lap again.
Oh, I was in this one. I remember this.
I was hoping you were there.
I remember this. Yeah.
I was hoping you were. Do you finish?
Yeah, it was super hard. Swain on on with it. I was so cold that day because
Yeah.
no one wore kit.
Yeah. I reckon it must have got cold or raining halfway through the stage or something.
I was so cold.
Yeah.
Everyone pulled out. I remember we
Yeah.
were in
we were in Green Edge.
Half our team pulled out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm interrupting the story.
No,
yeah.
I was hoping you were in this. I couldn't remember if you were there, but I was hoping you were there because, I was either my first or second year pro, and I was like, what the hell is going on? I think we got into the bus at 7:30 or 8 p.m. at night, and it was basically dark. We'd all basically missed time cut. It was so cold and wet, and I was just like, what is pro cycling? Is this really what I signed up for? And then the next day got cancelled, and because half the guys pulled out, the last day was a TT, and I think there was like 40 guys started. But it was probably this stage because it was early on in my pro career, and yeah, it was like 8 hours long and just horrendous.
We got our ass, I think I might have even pulled out. I think I got our ass kicked, or either I pulled out and got my ass kicked, or I can't remember, but I do remember that day.
It was a filthy day.
I'd forgotten about that. God.
Yeah.
Couple questions left, mate. That cheat meal, that one meal that you just go, you know what, I don't care anymore. I'm preparing for the Tour de France, whatever it is. I'm having it tonight. I need it.
I don't know if it's even a cheat meal. It's just something that I really, really like, and it's takeaway Indian. We were talking about this. I did an interview, and they said, what's your favorite meal? And I said, probably Indian. And
what Indian, though?
just the only Indian that's in Andorra. Were you in Andorra when the Indian was there?
Yeah, but I mean, like, what dish? Like Rogan Josh?
No,
or?
it depends on what I'm after or what I'm feeling. Sometimes I don't mind a vindaloo, a little bit of a spicy kick. I do love a Peshwari naan, the sweet naans.
No garlic naan?
No, I'm more of a Peshwari naan, man. The garlic's, it's all right, but I'd order the Peshwari over it. Then if I'm not really feeling spicy, then just the standard, just like butter chicken or something nice.
Poppadoms?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So yeah, Indian.
Nice.
Takeaway at home.
Yeah, it's not necessarily cheap. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. And I reckon it's pretty hard to go wrong with a takeaway Indian.
Yeah.
Like, on average, you probably normally get a good one.
Yeah, and then on average, they can only be average, so it won't be too bad.
Exactly.
Last one, mate. What's the best thing about riding a bike for you? You've ridden lots of different styles of bikes. Didn't really want to get into it at the start, but all of a sudden you're still riding a bike today. Why are you still riding a bike?
It comes back to probably the independence that it gives you to be able to transit around places and to experience a new place. I think I spoke about it before, that it's the right speed of travel for me, where you travel fast enough that you can see a lot of different things, but it's slow enough that you can appreciate things when you pass it by on the side of the road.
Good call.
Yeah, the experience of exploring new places on a bike, I think, is the thing that I enjoy the most.
Beautiful, Haig.
Thanks, mate.
Well, there we go. Haig back with the old classic Talking Luft. I really enjoyed doing that one. Back to the old roots. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Haig was a great guest. It was great to have him on the pod the last 2 weeks. We're in the lead up for the Tour de France now. So guys, I hope you're enjoying your cycling. Like I said, get across and grab yourself one of the new Life in the Peloton books exclusively at maap.cc. Big thanks goes out to MAAP, of course, Red Bricks Media, who put the podcast together. You guys for listening. And yes, next week we will have another podcast for you guys. So until then, take it easy and I'll speak to you then. Cheers.
That iconic music in this episode was composed by none other than the legend, Pete Shelley. Cheers, mate.